What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Movie Fanatics video. Today we're gonna be getting into Power Book 2 Ghost. Before we get started, please be sure to go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe button, and most definitely share. Power Book 2 Ghost, the series. I've been looking forward to doing this. Obviously, we started this channel during the course of the actual series, so for us to be here right now to actually do this series review, I'm extremely excited to do this. Now, Power Book 2 Ghost picks right up after the original Power, where after the events in the original Power, Tasha St. Patrick, that's Tariq St. Patrick's mother, Ghost's wife, James St. Patrick, goes to jail for killing James St. Patrick. In order for Tariq St. Patrick to receive his trust fund from his father's estate, he has to go get a degree at college, do 4 years at college, and graduate. The business partner, Simon Stern, gets Tariq St. Patrick into Stansfield for him to be able to accomplish that goal. Now, with ramifications of him having to help Ezekiel Cross, which is the Stansfield basketball star. Tariq has to help him stay eligible for him to be able to keep playing basketball for Stansfield, which enters the Tejada family, which at the time, Ezekiel Cross, he is the nephew of Monae Tejada. She runs the drug organization along with the rest of her family, Drew, Kane, and Diana, which is overseen by Lorenzo Tejada, that is the father. Breaking down Monae, clearly ruthless, badass character throughout the whole series, who she holds is very protective of all three of her kids, Kane, Drew, and Diana. Now, Kane, him being the oldest of the Tejada kids, he's more of the enforcer type of character, where he's like groomed into being into this drug organizational gang. Where Drew and Diana, I felt like those two were they really didn't want to get involved, but considering the fact that they didn't want to let the family down, with Drew clearly having his eye on wanting to go to school, being an artist, and him trying to battle both his social life and trying to be being in the drug game at the same time, there was definitely a struggle. Same thing with Diana. Diana was probably the most protected out of all of the kids, where Monae didn't want to let her out of her sight, didn't even want her to get involved with Tariq St. Patrick throughout the whole series, but somehow she found a way. Now, I felt like what led to the breakup of the family was the fact that Diana exposed the fact that Ezekiel Cross is Monae Tejada's son, who she had prior to being with Lorenzo, with another character that is Mecca, who we get to within a second. But I felt like after she exposed the Ezekiel Cross being Monae's son, and then exposing the fact that Monae was with Mecca, which aka that's Dante Spears, I felt like that led to Lorenzo wanting to kill Dante, which he thought he shot and killed, but it ended up being Ezekiel, which led to Monae being depressed about the fact that she lost her oldest son, finding out that it was actually Lorenzo setting that up to kill the father of her kids, which led to everyone finding out about it, and they just found that was just straight up ruthless. If she's capable of killing the father of her kids, what else is she capable of? Killing her own kids, possibly. But I feel like throughout the series, the kids really, Diana, Drew, and Kane, really didn't understand what Monae had to do to protect her kids, which I felt like she needed justice for the Ezekiel Cross death. It's really hard for them to understand where she's coming from, as far as how she wanted to raise her kids, how she always just wanted to protect her kids. And I felt like towards the end of the actual series, the kids finally understood, like, it's not easy, especially with Diana ended up being pregnant, which we will definitely get to in a second. But I wanted to touch on the villains real fast throughout this whole series, and I throw Lorenzo in here as a villain too as well, because at the beginning, Lorenzo, I felt like, had very, very high. I had high expectations for Lorenzo, and during the course of the series, him calling the shots throughout in prison, and he just gave off like he's a drug kingpin. He's that dude, right? And then after the events in season 2, I'm sitting there like, not really. I'm not really liking the way that this character is going as far as being a villain, obviously, which led to his demise, where Monae set up for him to get killed. But Mecca, out of all the villains throughout this whole series, I felt like he was my favorite, even though he was an informant. Outside of that, if we can eliminate the informant part, I feel like Mecca was probably the best villain throughout the whole series. Now, Noma, dangerous, ruthless, British drug lord, which I felt like throughout the last 2 seasons, I'm just sitting there observing where really she wasn't the one in charge like that. I felt like Mecca did all the heavy lifting in season 2. And then as we get towards the end of the series where it's not really her business, it's a family business where her brother if we're being honest, I feel like he was more of the shot caller and she was just the conduit in America, if we're being completely honest. And then last but not least, we have Carter, who's played by Michael Ealy. And I like Michael Ealy as an actor, but for this particular role, I was not a fan of Michael Ealy playing this character Carter as a dirty cop who basically wanted to control crime within the streets by doing specific deals with drug dealers just to keep the peace. The character Carter, I feel like that just wasn't Michael Ealy's thing. Like I don't see him as an aggressive type of actor. Like he's always been the soft-spoken actor in all of the projects that he's done, where it's like I'm just not on board with that. I wanna take this back to Tariq St. Patrick, because I feel like one of the most important things when it comes down to sitting down and watching the actual TV show series is character development. And I feel like Tariq St. Patrick didn't have any type of character development throughout the whole show I would probably say from the time in the original Power, where we coming down to the last 2 seasons where he was actually getting involved with the drug game up until now. To be honest, I didn't even think that he was the main character through through the series. I feel like it was more focused on the Tejada family. Yes, Tariq did have his separate goals, getting his mom out of jail, wanting to take care of his family. And the original goal was for him to go to school and graduate so he can actually get his father's trust fund. But at the same time, I just felt like it just got a little bit murky. And going back to the character development thing, like it's being iterated over and over again that Tariq is just like his father, or he wants to be better than his father. What people fail to realize within the original Power, that Ghost, James St. Patrick, all he wanted to do, he wanted to go legit and he wanted to be a successful man. Unfortunately, he had no choice but to sell drugs to be able to put himself in that particular situation for him to be successful. And I feel like they did it backwards with Tariq, where we get towards the end of the series where Diana finds out that she's pregnant and she tells Tariq, and Tariq is like, he wants to take care of the baby. He wants to do things differently, but it goes back to him wanting to sell drugs a better way where he doesn't have to be as involved, where I feel like he fails to understand the fact that he's always going to be a risk as long as he's in this particular profession. And I feel like, again, he did not learn anything throughout the whole series, from, again, original Power towards the end, and at the end of Power Book Ghost series. It's just this consecutive thing where he just does not understand that for you to be able to be happy moving forward. And I feel like this Diana situation with the baby was a prime example of that. Now, let's get into the love interest, because I feel like this is extremely important. We got Diana, Lauren, and Effie, right? So Diana, she was always under Monae's thumb. She didn't want to mix. Monae didn't want Diana to mix business with pleasure, so she tried to keep Diana as far away from Tariq St. Patrick as possible. To be honest, that love had some potential, if we're being honest, but it obviously the baby thing, which honestly you really couldn't confirm that it was actually Tariq's baby because of the fact that there was really no test, like, so, because she was with Shabik too as well, so you really don't really know who the father is. But we're gonna ride it just for show purposes. But that was the best. I'm gonna say the best, but Diana, yeah, I'll give her second. Now let's go to Lauren real fast, which I feel like we really didn't get a conclusion with her story, if we're being honest. She just got sent away. She wasn't going to Stansfield anymore. But that was more of Tariq St. Patrick's Angela as to James St. Patrick. Like, she was the innocent one. All she wanted to do was go to school and be good. She didn't have anything else going on except for the fact that she was focusing on just going to school. Right? She was the positive influence in her life. And then we get to Effie, which I feel like Effie had the most potential she was the best lover for Tariq throughout the whole series. But unfortunately, the whole fiasco with the Lauren thing, trying to kill Lauren and not involving Tariq in that particular situation, led to Effie's demise, of her potentially being with Tariq moving forward. But I strongly believe that Effie should have been the one. She was definitely the best fit for Tariq, considering the fact he can be one completely real with Effie, where he couldn't be real with Diana due to the fact that, yes, the Tejada family and Tariq had their differences, but he really couldn't be honest with her because he didn't want her and the family to exploit that as a weakness in moving through the series. Now, Power Book 2 Ghost. Look, I'm gonna be completely honest with y'all. I felt like it's never going to hold up to the original Power, and I'm gonna have a biased opinion on this. Like, I really care for Tariq St. Patrick. I can't stand him, if we're being honest. He killed my boy. Okay. He killed Ghost, James St. Patrick. Like, that's my hero, James St. Patrick. So I feel like throughout the seasons of whether it be Raising Kanan, whether it be Power Book Force or Ghost, this Ghost series, I feel like which one, as far as being the best spinoff, has switched around throughout the whole series. Like, okay, after season 1 of Ghost, yeah, I'm gonna give that was the best spin-off series out of all 3. But then I felt like after Force came out, it took the lead, and then Raising Kanan after this past season, I feel like it's neck and neck between those two, and I'm gonna go ahead and put the Ghost series probably in 3rd out of all of the spinoffs. But let me know what you guys think. You know what it is. If you enjoyed the content, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. This is the Movie Fanatics. I'm up out here, man.